Hey everybody out there, this is Seto, and today for you guys we're going to be talking about the ban list that came out about a week ago now. I would have done this video earlier, but I have been dealing with a lot of things and have not got a chance to talk about the ban list, my thoughts on it, and answer the question also of does this ban list really change the format that much? Which is a question that a lot of people are posing since the ban list has been out for a week. I wanted to take some time to digest it because a lot of things really did change, but does it really change competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! That much, really? So let's first go over the ban list and we'll talk about this. So the first card that got banned is Nightmare Goblin we're going to talk about. Now this is a card that a lot of people I heard talking about how this card should be banned. Some people were saying Firewall, some people were saying this. I think Firewall should have been on the ban list. I think Firewall, and a good analogy I've heard is Firewall is kind of like that kid at school who never gets in trouble, does all these bad things, but all the kids around him get in trouble instead of Firewall. You know, that one kid. Like it's the kid that your parents say stay away from because bad things always happen where he goes. And that's Firewall in a nutshell. All these different combos. There's so many cards like Samsara Lotus got banned because of Firewall combos and Needle Fiber combos, and I think somebody mentioned the Aeromage Link Monster as well combos. I believe that's the reasons why, but mainly due to Firewall. I felt like that's the reason they got banned. There was apparently some combos as well as Needle Fiber and things, but again, it feels like a lot of cards get on this ban list because of Firewall stuff, which we'll talk about later on. But yes, Goblin helped with extra linking, helped with things of that nature. So it's a card that I do hate to see go because it was useful in some decks if you weren't abusing it, but it was a very abusable card. So yeah, I can see this one going definitely on the ban list. Maybe one day it will come back, but I'm highly doubtful. We have next up Elemental Hero Stratos came off the ban list, which everybody's been happy about. I actually have my old Show and Jump promo. I've been playtesting some hero decks, so hopefully we can get some profiles of that for you guys eventually. But yes, Stratos is finally off the ban list. However, they did limit a hero lives due to this reason. Do I feel this is necessary? Yes. From what I've seen in the OCG and how abusive we know a hero lives is, because it's a card that no matter when you draw it or how many life points you have, you can activate a hero lives. It's a very good card. It's in sort of a little better e-call. The fact you can use it with Shadow Mist, and you can also use it with Stratos, and then you can re-abuse Stratos' effect a lot of times. The one thing that I've always said to people that people don't seem to understand is Stratos is a very good card. It's a still very potent card in 2018. But if you originally remember why Stratos was such a broken card back in the day, when you talk about Airblade Turbo, Teledad, Dad Return formats, and its prime, I would say, of Stratos when he was at one of, was the fact that it could be re-abused multiple times. Stratos does not have a once per turn clause on its search effect, which just means that you could bring it out, search, goes to grave, search again, and you could keep abusing the Stratos loop. So it's still a good card, and I can see where definitely a hero lives got limited for this reason. So I understand why they did that. The next card we're going to talk about here is A Assault Core. Now A Assault Core is a card that, like I said about Firewall, it's one of those cards that apparently was used with a loop, apparently. So that's why they limited, even though ABC Buster, I feel so bad because I love that deck, and I really feel sad for that. Hopefully the day that Firewall finally gets banned or something happens to it, it gets eroded, A Buster can, you know, ABC. Stupid cards like this on the list that wouldn't be on the list, like, it must have plot armor immunity. Firewall Dragon does. I know people say Dekartarka is the main one, but come on. Like, the only reason this is to push Firewall product, like either a reprint, which they just have the Mega Tins, but that's probably not the main reason. It's probably because they still have to print like alternate art of Firewall. So why ban a card when you have to press more product, right? So yeah, that sucks. Now Morphing Jar came off the list to one of. Now Morphing Jar has been a card that I've used in multiple different decks over the years. Everything from Goat Control back when it was a super expensive card and not that many people actually had the card per se, to things like Dark Worlds I was using it in back before it got banned. So it's a very powerful card, but I think it may be a little bit too slow. But then at the same point, it's a very powerful card again. And if you're low on resources, activating a Morphing Jar is amazing. Nobody's going to be running Nobleman of Cross out. People are not going to be expecting it. So if you time your Morphing Jar properly, it can win you the duels. So, I don't know. I think if it was a deck that it would be abused in the most would probably be something around like the Ritual Monster card Tarot Tray, the Flip Effect dot deck. Which was abused with like Shadows originally early on, and the TCG archetype we got, I'm forgetting the name, it's escaping me, with like we got about a year and a half ago. I forget the name, but they revolve around flip effects. Like that type of deck I could see Morphing Jar being used in, or deck out strategies in general. Cypher Lord Omega got limited to 1 of. I think this was necessary. Like I get Cypher, like Omega was so good. Like Omega could be abused so much, and I understand why Omega got limited to 1 of. You got more zombie support. Omega's going to get abused a lot, and so I can understand why they limited this card, because it's such a good card, and it's going to be used more and more and more as time goes on. Card Demise, excuse me, not Card Demise, Card Destruction came off the ban list and went to 1 of. This was a card I've used throughout Yu-Gi-Oh's history. We used it in a Dragon Ruler format with Dragon Rulers. Geez, there's so many decks. Like Dark Worlds, it was so amazing in. You would set up all the Dark Worlds in your hand and just be like, bloop, all to the grave, draw more cards. So it's good. I think this is coming out to promote dangers and everything of that nature, and I am all for this card coming back, even though I know it's got some degeneracy around it. So yes, Super Polymerization we got back to us. A lot of old school cards that I remember using back in the day, we got back. And I'm happy Super Poly's back. It means we get to use it in a lot of different fusion dot decks. So that's a card I'm happy to have back. It's at 2 of in the OCG, so yes. Scapegoat went to 2 of. People say this really doesn't do anything. It just means you can't go goats that much, but like I've started to see as time goes on, less people using Scapegoats in their deck. And Scapegoats is a card that I like. Because it's multi-versatile. I can use it for defensive purposes. I can use it for my link plays if I draw it. Yes, it is a 1 card, link 4, but still, it does take some extra deck space. You have to set up for that. And number 2, it also is very versatile. So understand the hit. Some people said it should go to 1 of. I think 2 of is a perfect fit. Like 3 of, a little bit too much. 2 of, that's okay. Limit Removal went to 2 of. When I first saw this, I was like, whoa, oh boy, OTKs, Cyber Sister and OTKs, no! Now, if you guys didn't know, Limit Removal, I was talking with my friend, and we were talking about how it's been on the limited list since, I think, 2003, when it was used with Jinzo and Mechanical Chaser back then. 13 years, I think it's been on the limited list. That's a long time. But he finally got parole and got put to 2 of. So the way I look at it, it will be used in OTK strategies, but it won't be used in every OTK strategy because some of them are better than others. Like Cyber Dragons, you always can put enough damage on board. This is just more of a win more card nowadays. But in certain decks, it will still be played as a 2 of because it's just that good of a card. Terraforming got put to 2 of. I'm fine with it being at 2 of, but I don't want to see Terraforming at 1 of. I really don't, because there are decks out there that cannot search their field spells, and Terraforming is unnecessary. So 3 of, I get. It hurts consistency of some of those more powerful decks, and because field spells have become more prevalent in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And more powerful as time goes on, but it doesn't hurt every deck out there, because if it went to 1 of, I think that's a little bit too harsh. Elemental Hero Disc Commander, we're not going to talk about this much. Errata, going to get reprinted in the Legendary decks, and I think that is everything of note that I see here. That is really things to talk about. A Burial from a Different Dimension as well. is unlimited, which will be helpful for zombies. But those were the main key talking parts that I wanted to talk about on this list, that changes that happen. Burial from a Different Dimension, this will be used probably in zombie type of decks. I know Skull Servants, it's a great card and I love that deck and I can't wait to profile it with it at 3 of. But I think it will be helpful to support and promote zombies. But I know there's a couple other cards that got unlimited completely, but some of them we really don't care about because none of them were important except for Burial from what I saw. So does this really change the face of Yu-Gi-Oh right now? Like, does this really change the format? Yes and no. We're gonna have to wait to see after the 200th how this affects the list, and even after after we look at all the events that are happening that day on the 200th, this coming weekend, we will get a better idea of what's going to be developing into the meta, or a starting point. For what I've seen developing already, it hasn't changed too much. Gokis can be still playable, but they're not as consistent at making you link boards to some degree. Sky Striker as an engine can still be played, but it's not going to be played as much maybe. It's Sky Striker, pure Sky Strikers are still good because something I did forget to mention, Hornet did get hit to 1 of on the list as well. So that's why you're going to see less probably maybe engine run Sky Strikers, unless it's for a specific build such as Cyber Dragons or something of that nature, something I've been toying around with for like the last week before when the list came out. So it depends. It's going to be interesting to see how the meta develops, but I don't think it's going to change that much. We're still going to see Trickstar. I think we will see more other decks develop as well, because this is the first major event of the season really. We may see Invoke, oh gosh, Mech Knights, we may see that develop a little bit more since the deck is more prominent. I've seen a lot with Alistair being out, the Link Monster. Maybe. I don't know yet. I can see other decks like maybe Altergeist rising up a little bit more because that deck is really good, and if you've seen what it's done in the OCG, it's a really good deck. So I think it's going to be very versatile. There's even True Draco sitting over here saying, hey, look at me, I'm a good deck still. So with all its floodgates and everything. So we're going to have to wait to see how this develops, but I don't think it's going to change that much. Maybe the lineup order will change a little bit, but for the most part, no deck was really outright killed on this ban list. If anything, they were downgraded. Some decks got power because of Stratos, but you know, you did lose a hero lives to 1 of. And you know, like Hornet, Hornet, they didn't hit Engage, they didn't hit anything else. They just hit Hornet to 1 of, which stops it for the most part, you know, being in every deck of, oh, just throw Engage, throw Hornet, throw something else, and there you go, and just do your link combos. Now it's more for the pure Sky Strikers, but you can still tech it into certain decks like Cyber Dragon and things of that nature. So, yeah, it won't change too much, but it'll change somewhat. Maybe the pecking order will be different. But till next time, guys, take care, have fun dueling, good luck dueling. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see all of you guys next time. Take care, everybody.